Hey everyone, since its inception in 2004, World of Warcraft saw its fair share of players that always wanted to push the boundaries and achieve crazier and crazier things. From striving to be the fastest at clearing a new raid, to grinding days on end to receive unique items. But with the introduction of Wrath of the Lich King in 2008, Blizzard finally officially gave a way for those players to show off their prestigious feats of strength. With the achievement system added to the game, Blizzard added a plethora of insane pieces of content to compete for. From Realm First to unique titles to legendary items, today we're gonna explore 12 of those prestigious things added in Wrath. So without further ado, let's get into it. To start off, let's get the obvious one out of the way, the Insane in the Membrane title. This title was rewarded for the achievement of the same name, and it's also one of the only items on our list that you could completely solo for the most part. So in short, to receive this title, you had to be exalted with all of Ravenhold, Chandralar, Darkmoon Faire, and each one of the 4 Goblin factions, but also honored with Bloodsail Buccaneers. And if you know about this achievement and been paying attention, you may notice that there is one additional faction on this list. That's because Insane in the Membrane was actually changed in Cataclysm and made way easier in the process by removing arguably the hardest faction, Chandralar. But we'll get to that in a second. I'm not gonna get into the details of how to reach Exalted with each one of those factions, that's a topic for a video of its own. But what you really need to know is that this title back in Wrath was very challenging to get. For example, to receive Reputation with Ravenhold, you first need to kill 4,200 Syndicate mobs in Hillsbrad, then pickpocket 1,400 heavy junk boxes. You don't have a rogue? Time to make one or pay someone to do it for you. And it's crazy like that for each one of those factions involved with this achievement, really. But probably the hardest faction of them all has to be Chandralar. As I said, this one was removed in Cataclysm, and if you've done this achievement post-Wrath, you probably saved yourself half the time it would have taken you to get this. The only way to get Reputation with Chandralar is to turn in Librams of Rapidity, Protection, and Focus. You know, those super rare Librams that you had to turn in Classic to get your leg or head enchant. Well, you'll be farming or buying those super rare Librams 210 times. And remember that the quest itself requires other reagents, pristine black diamond, large brilliant shards, and whatnot. This is probably by far the most time-consuming / expensive part of this achievement. And I really think Blizzard removed this faction itself just to make this achievement, well, achievable for the average player. In Wrath, you will not have that luxury. Moving on, and to stay on the topic of achievements, when you think prestigious achievements in Wrath, you think Realm Firsts, and Wrath introduced a ton of these. We're gonna talk about the raiding related ones in a minute, because there's a lot to be said there, but for now I wanted to focus on the simple ones. Realm First level 80 on the server, Realm First level 80 Human, Orc, Night Elf, Realm First Jewel Crafter, Alchemist, Cook. There were Realm First achievements for everything in Wrath. But let's face it, the most prestigious one, and also the one that will cause the most drama, will probably be Realm First level 80. In Classic, the World First level 60 was obviously Joker, the mage, and he did that solo by grinding on mobs. In Classic TBC, it was a group of 5 players of the Guild Progress, who got it by farming dungeons. But for Wrath, it's gonna be interesting to see who will get this and how this achievement will function if a group of 5 players reach level 80 at the same time. Is it gonna go to 1 person or 5? We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Believe it or not, in the beta for Wrath, all of these achievements also gave titles, and they weren't just generic Realm First titles followed by whatever the title was. They were all unique: Grandmaster Engineer, Grandmaster Alchemist, Hero of Orgrimmar, Archmage, Assassin, Prophet, and the one for being Realm First 80 was the Supreme. As I said, this was removed before the beta ended in 2008, but I wish they added them back. Those titles look amazing. Speaking of Realm First achievements, let's now talk about the ones ones that actually give titles, the raiding related ones. Let's start from the beginning, Conqueror of Naxxramas. This one is actually pretty simple, in theory of course. The only criteria is to kill KT on 25 men. You can have as many players as you want die on the way there, or not enable any hard mode. Not that there's any in Naxxramas anyways, of course. But yeah, this is the first Realm First raiding title that people will get probably. But the most important thing I wanted to talk about here is that this will only go to 25 players, obviously. If you have 2 or more raid teams in your guild, your officer team will have to sit down and think this through quite hard. Who will you bring on progression night, and who will ultimately be among the 25 players on your server and guild to receive this title? Given you managed to get server first, of course, this is gonna create a lot of drama. But there's more drama to come, trust me. Because the next title is Obsidian Slayer, killing Sartharion server first on 25 men. Interestingly for this one, you don't actually have to have any of the 3 Drakes active to receive this. The Sartharion 3 Drakes achievement gives the Twilight Vanquisher title on 25 men, but that's not gonna be a very prestigious title because a lot of people will get this throughout the expansion. The interesting discussions guilds are gonna have for Sartharion on day 1 of Wrath, especially super high-end guilds, is do we want to go for Obsidian Slayer and just guarantee that by killing him without any Drakes active, or do we want to go for the world first 3 Drakes? Or obviously, option 3, the riskiest, do we want to do both at once? Very ballsy move that I could see Progress, Calamity and the likes go for. That's gonna be a very interesting raid to follow world first for sure. Then you have the Magic Seeker title, Realm First Malygos. An interesting fact about Malygos is that you need to have one person in your raid complete a quest beforehand to summon him, the key to the focusing Iris. And this involves killing Sapphiron in Naxxramas. So before receiving this title, people will have to rush to kill Sapphiron. Again, will guilds be greedy and try to do both Realm First Nax and Malygos, or just kill Sapphiron and go straight to the Eye of Eternity? It will be interesting to see. Now, here's where Realm First achievements start to get very spicy, because the next raid to give them is Ulduar, and they're way harder to obtain than the previous ones. Realm First Yogg-Saron involves nothing less than defeating Yogg with 0 Guardians active. This used to be known among many players as one of the hardest pieces of content to be added in the game back in the day. If you don't know how this works, typically before going to Yogg-Saron, you would first talk to 4 Guardians that would help you during the fight. Those would be bosses that you defeated previously, and all of them gave very powerful buffs if active. Mimiron increased your damage dealt by 10% and movement by 20%. Thorim damage by 10% and health by 20. Freya damage 10 and healing received 20, and Hodir damage 10 again and damage taken reduced by 20. And Yogg was actually tuned around having those Guardians active, obviously. So it's no surprise that the world first guild to do that was the guild Stars on Taiwanese servers a whopping 84 days after the raid released. This is probably going to be among the most prestigious titles to have because of how difficult it will be to obtain, even nowadays. You also had Herald of the Titan and Celestial Defender. Both of those achievements are prestigious because they involve killing Agalon the Observer, while it's still current content. Celestial Defender is probably the most prestigious of them because it's Realm First, while you can still get Herald of the Titan even till this day on retail actually, by equipping Ulduar gear level, so that's pretty neat. The next Realm First title was Grand Crusader, clearing Trial of the Grand Crusader on 25 men with 50 attempts remaining, which meant you could not wipe a single time. Again, another quite challenging one, but not nearly as challenging as Death's Demise in my opinion. Clearing content without wiping is quite common in Classic nowadays. Doing Yogg 0 Guardians is a whole different story. And finally, Realm First Lich King 25 Men Heroic. Interestingly enough, this didn't give a title. That being said, Heroic 25 Men Lich King was quite challenging, and I expect it to be tough even nowadays in Classic. Around this time is when the race to World First really began taking off, and guilds who were doing those heroic bosses were tossing hundreds of attempts per day to achieve that. It will be interesting to see how that goes in Classic Wrath. Let's now move away from raids and talk about items. Well, Well, a lot of those items do drop from raids, but one that doesn't, that will be extremely rare, is the Mount Time Lost Proto-Drake. I really couldn't tell you exactly the version of Time Lost Proto-Drake that will be getting in Classic Wrath, just because this went through so many changes throughout the years. Basically, every other patch, this rare would have its pathing changed, abilities change, leech added, etc. If I were to guess, we'll just get the version that was at the very end of Wrath, but I just couldn't find exactly what that will entail. Still, this mount is amongst the rarest in the game till this day, and it sure will be in Classic Wrath. Super prestigious mount to have. To stay on the topic of mounts, you obviously have Invincible. This only drops from 25-man Heroic Lich King, which, as we talked about, will be a super challenging fight for many guilds, and the mount itself has a 1% chance to drop from him. So whoever you see on your server riding one of these, know that that player will be in a very exclusive group of players in the world to have been both skilled and lucky enough to receive this. I also wanted to mention the Reigns of the Plagued Proto-Drake and Black Proto-Drake. Those were rewarded for the Glory achievement for tier 7 raids, which also included killing Sartharian 3 Drakes. As I said earlier, Sartharian 3 Drakes isn't super prestigious to do on its own, because you could just do it later in the expansion. But what makes these mounts prestigious is that you can only obtain them before the release of Ulduar. The Plagued one is the one for 10 men, and Black is for 25 men. So good luck on this. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. Pretty much all the things mentioned here are quite prestigious to get in Wrath, and if you get any of them, you'll be among a very exclusive group of players to have these. There's still a ton of things like these to talk about in Wrath, but this video would get way too long if I went on. Instead, if you can think of any, please drop them in the comments, and I'll be doing a part 2 to this video in the future. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. My name is Numidia, and I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.